I want you to imagine a conversation taking place between a Hamas supporter in the West and their child. This is a post written by Hillel Fuld, who's a brilliant campaigner for the state of Israel and Jewish causes. And he wrote the following conversation: Daughter, Dad, where are you going? Dad, I'm going to a rally for an important cause. Cool, can I join? Probably not a good idea. Why not? Well, people get violent in these marches. That's weird. Why are you supporting violence? I thought you told me that violence is bad. What is this rally about? Well, I'm marching for the Palestinians and their resistance against Israel and its racist government. Wait, I'm confused. I saw videos of Hamas, the organization that governs the Palestinians, murdering families and burning babies and raping women. Is that who you're marching for? Well, yeah, the Israelis have been oppressing the Palestinians for 75 years, and this is the result. Dad, I'm confused. Are you actually telling me that you support those horrible acts? Would you support them if I was the one being raped? Well, it's not so much about me supporting Hamas as it is about protesting the state of Israel. But what did Israel do that you're so angry at them? They stole land from the Palestinians. Got it, that makes sense. So they occupied an Arab state called Palestine. Yeah, now you're starting to get it. Cool. Tell me about this Arab state. When was it established? Crickets. Was there an Arab state called Palestine? There must have been. It's not about a state. Israel ethnically cleansed the land from the Arabs. But aren't there millions of Arabs living in Israel, serving in the army and the parliament and the courts and all other parts of Israeli society? What do you mean they kicked all the Arabs out? Crickets. Okay, I'm just trying to understand. There was never an Arab-Palestinian state, and no one kicked the Arabs out, so what are you marching for? Okay, so they didn't kick all the Arabs out, but they did kick many of them out of their homes. They just decided one day to kick them out? No, the UN gave the Jews a state and the Arabs a state, and the Arabs attacked the Jews and rejected the UN's offer. So they attacked Israel and lost, and then Israel took land. Exactly, you see how evil those Jews are? Didn't we do the same thing in our country? Didn't every country do that at some point in their history? Crickets. Besides, Dad, where does the word Jew come from? Isn't it from the word Judea, which we now call the West Bank? Weren't the Jews always there? How can someone steal land that's already theirs? Crickets. Dad, I'm sorry for all these questions. You always taught me to use critical thinking, and I'm just really confused. So let me get this straight. The Jews, who were systematically murdered by Hitler in Europe, were granted a state by the UN. The Arabs were too. Israel accepted. The Arabs rejected and attacked and lost. Then Israel took land that was historically theirs, let Arabs live freely in their country, and were cruelly massacred on October 7th. And you're going to march in support of that? Crickets. Dad, please help me to understand, because I know you're not a violent person. So how can you march in favour of Hamas? Aren't they terrorists? Because, daughter, Israel is committing genocide. They're killing tens of thousands of innocent people in Gaza. They're attacking indiscriminately. Oh, that makes sense. I'd love to examine the numbers. How many innocent people did Israel kill and how many terrorists? And also, what's the source of the numbers? Oh, they killed tens of thousands of innocents. I'm not sure about terrorists. The source? Hamas. Wait, what? You're quoting Hamas, a terrorist organization who says that every person Israel killed was innocent. So, according to the numbers you're quoting, Israel killed 0 terrorists. That doesn't sound right. Crickets. Doesn't Israel drop pamphlets and send messages to the civilians to evacuate before attacking? Did we do that in our last war? If Israel warns the population before attacking, how can you say they're killing indiscriminately? Crickets. So you're going to march in solidarity of a group that raped women and beheaded babies because you're protesting a state that was established legally, was attacked, won, built the only democracy in the region, let Arabs live peacefully, and has done everything to make sure innocent people aren't killed in their attacks. Well, now that you put it that way, it sounds bad, but Israel is a racist state that needs to give the Arabs the land from the river to the sea. What river? What sea? Crickets. So where should those Israelis go once you give away their only country? They should go back where they came from. Where is that? Europe. All Jews in Israel came from Europe, but aren't there Sephardic Jews who didn't come from there? Aren't there Jews who came from the East? Aren't there Jews from Iran, Yemen, and Morocco? Also, weren't those Jews kicked out of Europe, Iran, Yemen, and Morocco? You're saying that they should go back to the countries from which they were exiled? I'm not following. Crickets. I don't mean to question you, Dad. I know you're a moral person, so help me understand what you're going to this march for. I'm calling for a global intifada and a ceasefire. A global intifada? 1 second, let me Google that. It says that intifada means a violent uprising. It says that in the last intifada, Arabs blew themselves up in the streets and murdered people on buses and in restaurants. Is that what you're calling for? Well, that and a ceasefire. But aren't those two things contradictory? A violent uprising and a ceasefire. How can you support both? Crickets. Israel needs to stop attacking Gaza. They've caused massive destruction to a place that was previously beautiful. Didn't you tell me that a few months ago that Gaza was an air prison and that Israelis are occupying Gaza, which is already an impossible place to live? So which one is it? An air prison or a beautiful place? Crickets. Sorry, Dad, I'm just trying to understand. What did Israel do wrong? Why are you going to march in protest of Israel? The Palestinians deserve a state. You should learn to always fight for the underdog. Ah, that makes total sense. The Palestinians should have a state. But Dad, didn't they have one in 1947? Didn't Israel offer them a state over and over? Didn't Israel leave Gaza in 2005 so that they can build a state? I'm confused. Also, how come the Palestinian leaders never talk about this state? Why are they always talking about killing Jews? Do they even want a state? I never heard one Palestinian leader talk about the two-state solution. All I hear is from the river to the sea. Do they want a state or do they just want no Israel? Crickets. Dad, you know I love you, but this is really very confusing to me. It seems you're going to march in favour of a terrorist organisation and in protest of a country that's done everything to achieve peace. It seems to me that the Palestinians want to annihilate the Jewish people, and the Jewish people, after thousands of years of persecution, just want to live in peace in their ancestral, historic, God-given homeland. Why are you going to this march? It seems to be the opposite of everything you've ever taught me. Can you explain so I can understand? You're being fresh. Don't mouth off to me. Go to your room. You're grounded. Well, I think that's a pretty fair assessment of the contradictions that exist within the anti-Israel protesters' minds. We should really understand that, quite frankly, they're not interested in facts. The whole cause is a lie from beginning till end, and we should be utterly clear about that. And just as we understood, sometimes you can't have a meeting of the minds, just as in Nazi Germany, the same is true of Nazi Gaza. Yes, Nazi-run Gaza. Hamas are modern-day Nazis who, by the way, have the support and condoning of the majority of the Arabs living there. So we should treat this the exact same way. Sometimes with some ideologies who just want to dominate and destroy the other, there cannot be a meeting of the minds. There has to be a victory of good over evil. I'm Ollie Anisfeld and you're watching JTV. Hi everybody, thanks for watching. If you want to watch another one, click here. If you want to subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest JTV content, click here. And if you're feeling really keen, you can click the join button down below underneath this video, where you can get perks including early access to new videos and private live discussions with me, where we can talk about JTV content and strategy moving forward, and I'll get to hear from you. Thanks again for watching.